For decades, Hermès has sold us a carefully curated fantasy, a world of hand-stitched elegance, timeless craftsmanship, and French luxury so pure it feels sacred. According to the legend, every Birkin and Kelly bag is birthed inside a serene atelier tucked away in France, meticulously crafted by artisans who spend years mastering their craft. No machines, no mass production, just leather, legacy, and light. This dream has been the foundation of Hermès' brand, and the reason millions are willing to pay $20,000 to $60,000 for a single handbag. But what if that dream wasn't the whole story? What if the $25,000 Birkin you saved up for wasn't actually born in Paris, but on a factory floor in Shandong, China? Imagine rows of nearly finished bags, identical to the ones in Hermès boutiques, being stitched by the same hands that also produce replicas and private label dupes. This isn't just rumor. It's backed by viral TikToks, whistleblower exposés, and explosive insider footage that's now turning the luxury fashion world upside down. In today's investigation, we're pulling the silk scarf off the luxury industry's most protected secret. From fake made-in-France loopholes to hidden Chinese manufacturing deals, what we're uncovering doesn't just implicate Hermès. It shakes the very foundation of high fashion's biggest brands, including Louis Vuitton and Chanel. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at a $60,000 handbag or the celebrities flaunting them the same way again. Hermès has long prided itself on exclusivity and old-world craftsmanship. The brand famously claims that a single Kelly bag requires 14 to 20 hours of meticulous labor, performed only by artisans who have undergone at least 4 years of rigorous training. Executive Chairman Axel Dumas once insisted that Hermès could not open more than one new workshop per year without compromising its storied savoir-faire. Their message has always been clear: luxury takes time. Every stitch, every cut, every bag is a legacy handed down through generations of French artisanship. But in late 2024 and early 2025, TikTok began telling a very different story. Viral videos started surfacing showing rows of handbags, uncannily similar to the coveted Birkins, being manufactured in massive factories across Shandong, China. One factory whistleblower alleged that as much as 80% of the bag's production, including cutting, stitching, and edge painting, was being done in China before the bags were sent to France for final touches. The intent? To maintain the illusion of made in France. Then came the bombshell. Chinese factory owners, tired of staying silent, began posting receipts, videos, order sheets, and even brand name drops. Chanel, IKEA, and yes, Hermès, all named in the same breath. By early 2025, the narrative had exploded. Chinese manufacturers took to social media en masse, uploading videos of nearly complete Hermès-style bags being finalized for global shipment, just missing a logo and a branded dust bag. They revealed how Hermès had allegedly outsourced key stages of production to cut costs while still charging $25,000 and up for each item. For fashion lovers, collectors, and loyal Hermès customers, it was more than a betrayal. It was a shattering of the myth. The house that built its empire on heritage and exclusivity was now at the center of a global transparency crisis, and the world was watching. The most damning evidence? Side-by-side comparisons of authentic Hermès handbags and so-called dupes, bags allegedly coming from the exact same Chinese production lines. In viral TikTok breakdowns, creators zoomed in on everything from saddle stitching to edge paint, revealing that the leather, hardware, and even thread color were virtually identical. The only clear difference? One had the Hermès hot-stamped logo in gold foil, and the other didn't. For many viewers, this wasn't just shocking, it was enraging. The mystique of exclusivity was unraveling in real time. And then came the creators who put their money where their outrage was. One luxury enthusiast spent over $100,000 buying, cutting open, and filming autopsies of designer handbags. What she found stunned her audience. Plastic stiffeners, foam inserts, and corrected grain leather. Materials typically used in bags that cost a fraction of the price. These weren't isolated finds either. Across platforms, more leather experts began speaking out, including Tanner Leatherstein, a viral content creator known for dissecting designer leather goods. When he cut into a Birkin and a Kelly on camera, his analysis was brutal. His estimate? The total material cost, including high-end metal hardware, was under $600. That figure hit the fashion world like a gut punch. Not $15,000, not $38,000, just $600 worth of materials, raising serious questions about Hermès's markup and manufacturing ethics. As millions watched these videos, an uncomfortable truth became impossible to ignore. Customers weren't paying for quality or craftsmanship alone. They were paying for a story now exposed. For buyers who had once viewed a Birkin as a status symbol or investment, the revelation felt personal. If these iconic handbags share a supply chain with fast fashion or Amazon totes, what are we really paying for? And what else might luxury brands be hiding? So if the craftsmanship is nearly identical, why do people still obsess over owning a real Hermès bag? 2 words: social capital. In the luxury world, it's not just about quality, it's about status. Take Cardi B, for example. When her daughter Culture drew a big black heart on a rare $60,000 Crocodile Kelly bag, Cardi didn't hide the moment. She posted it proudly to her 167 million Instagram followers. The message was unmistakable. True wealth isn't just owning a Birkin. It's letting your 6-year-old destroy one without blinking. The internet went into a frenzy. Google searches for Hermès bag repair spiked 240% overnight. Not to be outdone, Kylie Jenner gave her fans an exclusive tour of her custom handbag closet just a week later. Inside, over 120 Hermès bags arranged like a perfect pastel rainbow. Experts estimated that single wall of Birkins and Kellys to be worth more than $4 million. It wasn't just a closet, it was a curated display of luxury dominance, streamed straight to millions of fans on YouTube and TikTok. In this influencer-fueled economy, the algorithm doesn't care about artisan workshops or the French countryside. It only cares who's holding the bag, not where it was made. Whether it came from a Paris atelier or a Shandong factory, the social value remained sky high. For a while, Hermès chose silence. Even as TikTok exploded with exposés and leather experts peeled back the brand's mystique layer by layer, Hermès didn't issue a formal response. No press release, no denial, no confirmation. But in a world where perception is everything, that silence was deafening. It left luxury consumers grappling with a tough question. Are we chasing quality or just chasing clout? And as the conversation around ethical manufacturing, transparency, and branding intensifies, the public is starting to demand more than prestige. They want answers. Then came the lawsuits. Hermès launched defamation cases across Paris, Hong Kong, and Shenzhen, targeting whistleblower factories for alleged intellectual property theft and brand defamation. The brand's legal strategy was clear: silence the exposés before they gained more traction. But behind closed doors, sources claim Hermès took it a step further, allegedly offering hush money deals bundled with aggressive non-disclosure agreements designed to bury the story before it reached Western media. For a company built on secrecy and scarcity, transparency was suddenly its biggest threat. But facts don't lie, and neither does math. In 2024, Hermès reportedly sold around 1 million leather goods. The brand insists each bag takes a full day to craft by hand and employs about 4,700 leather artisans worldwide. That math simply doesn't add up. Even if every artisan worked non-stop, there's no feasible way those numbers reconcile, unless large portions of production are happening outside the French ateliers. And that's exactly what TikTok whistleblowers began to expose: a quiet, calculated outsourcing operation hidden behind layers of luxury marketing. So how does Hermès keep the coveted Made in France label? The answer lies in a loophole. Under European Union law, a product can be stamped Made in France if the final substantial transformation occurs there. What counts as substantial? It could be attaching a strap, stitching a seam, or hot stamping the logo, just enough to pass legal scrutiny, but far from full production. This quiet regulatory detail let Hermès retain its French allure, even if most of the labor occurred thousands of miles away. Now that the public knows, the question isn't just about where bags are made, but whether Hermès can maintain its luxury image without full transparency. A handbag can be 90% produced in a Chinese factory, but if someone in a Paris workshop sews on the handle or stamps a logo, voila, it's legally made in France. This isn't a breach of law, it's a manipulation of it. Luxury brands aren't lying, but they're walking a razor-thin line between truth and illusion. And the kicker? It's not just Hermes, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Dior. Many top-tier fashion houses leverage the same loopholes to preserve their image of artisanal European craftsmanship while quietly outsourcing the bulk of labor abroad. For years, Hermes bags, especially Birkins and Kellys, were more than fashion statements. They were financial assets, touted as outperforming the stock market and even gold. Investors parked their money in limited edition crocodile or Togo leather pieces, watching values soar in resale markets. But once the factory exposés hit TikTok and Chinese whistleblower videos went viral, that luxury bubble started to deflate fast. Resale forums exploded. According to Rebag's CLA report and the RealReal's Q1 data, some Birkin models saw a 12% to 18% drop in resale value within weeks. Collectors panicked. On Reddit and Discord groups, longtime resellers slashed prices by thousands overnight. One flipper admitted to cutting $8,000 off 5 Birkins in a single day just to stay ahead of the crash. Buyers, once confident in Hermes's gold standard quality, began to ask the unthinkable. Was my bag really handmade in France? Or just French-dressed factory work from overseas? The illusion of exclusivity and craftsmanship, the very DNA of the Hermes brand, started to unravel. And with it, the trust that had held up an entire luxury ecosystem began to crack. While Hermes scrambled behind the scenes, DHgate quietly surged into the top 3 shopping apps on Apple's App Store, riding a wave of viral exposure. TikTok became the new luxury battleground, flooded with factory extra unboxings. Videos showing users revealing $300 to $400 handbags that looked indistinguishable from $25,000 originals. And these weren't your typical street corner knockoffs. They featured real calfskin leather, hand-painted edges, and precision stitching. The craftsmanship was so exact, even seasoned collectors struggled to tell the difference. But here's where it gets disturbing. Many of these bags weren't even replicas. They were ghost shifts. Built during off hours in the same overseas factories used by high-end brands, these bags were produced using the same materials, same machines, and same skilled labor as the official ones. The only difference? No branding, no logo, no hefty price tag. Insiders began leaking details about production overruns and unauthorized after-hours manufacturing, a practice that blurs the line between counterfeit and authentic. It wasn't a copy, it was essentially the same bag, just without the stamp. Then came the ultimate twist: side-by-side performance tests. Content creators and leather experts began comparing the dupes with actual Hermes bags. In tests measuring edge durability, water resistance, and leather wear, some ghost shift bags actually outperformed their branded counterparts. TikTok exploded. Comments flooded in. If the same hands made both bags, why am I paying 25 grand? One video racked up millions of views in days, with users calling out the hypocrisy of luxury pricing. For the first time, everyday consumers began to question the real value of European designer goods. And that's the heart of the scandal. It goes beyond Hermes. This controversy pulled back the curtain on a much broader truth. Made in France and made in Italy are often marketing tools, not manufacturing guarantees. The European luxury supply chain, long idolized for its artisanal purity, has been quietly outsourcing for decades. What you're buying isn't just a bag, it's a story, a vibe, a status symbol built on carefully curated myths. But now, those myths are unraveling. And as ghost shifts, resale crashes, and TikTok exposés multiply, the billion-dollar illusion of heritage craftsmanship may never recover. TikTok's revolution has torn down the walls of the luxury world, and now, even the most die-hard designer enthusiasts can't ignore the reality. The question is unavoidable. Would you still flaunt a Birkin if it said made in Shenzhen instead of made in France? If you're nodding yes, then you've understood the harsh truth. Luxury is no longer about the birthplace, it's about the vibe. It's the social capital of owning something that signifies wealth, status, and exclusivity, regardless of where it's made. The truth is, the story you tell with your Birkin might matter more than the bag itself. The The marketing machine has made us value the aura, the prestige, and the exclusivity, whether it's crafted in Paris or assembled in a Chinese factory. But if your answer is no, then you're probably facing the uncomfortable reality that luxury might have been a carefully constructed illusion all along. For decades, consumers bought into the fantasy of handcrafted perfection, paying premium prices for the idea of an artisanal piece of history. The fact that the same factories could be churning out both high-end and budget-friendly versions should make us question everything about the value we place on these brands. After all, what is the difference between a $300 replica and a $30,000 original if they come from the same production line? This is the moment when the fantasy begins to shatter, leaving many to wonder if luxury was never about the product at all, but rather the price we were willing to pay for a story. And here's the kicker. The story isn't even true anymore. Celebrities have long been the champions of this narrative, posting endless pictures of their 60K bags, fueling the myth that these items are worth the astronomical prices. But as the truth comes to light, should we still allow them to push this illusion of wealth? Hit that like button if you're starting to rethink every designer purchase you've ever made. Subscribe for the next deep dive, because what we've uncovered about Rolex's part sourcing might just blow your mind. And drop a comment. Should we hold celebrities accountable for perpetuating these 60K fantasies? Because in the end, the most expensive thing about these luxury bags might not be the leather or craftsmanship, but the story we've been sold.